Well, hi, Ling Ling Huang. Is that right? Is that how you say the name? Okay.
Perfect.
Welcome
Yeah.
to Authorlink. We're here to talk to you about your first novel, your debut novel called Natural Beauty. Tell us a little bit, why is this story so personally deeply personal to you?
Sure. Yeah. Natural beauty is deeply informed by my own life. I've been a classical violinist since I was four, essentially, when I first stepped on
Wow.
stage. I'm also the daughter of immigrants, and I've worked in the wellness and clean beauty industry. So, kind of all of the basic elements of the main narrator I've stolen from my own life. Um, yeah. So it is deeply personal, but it differs wildly and
It,
is fiction, thankfully.
I can say it does differ wildly, and we'll talk about that. Well, first, describe the glitter of the beauty industry. You know, what pulls us into all these fancy things to make us more beautiful?
Well, I think, all of these companies really sell the idea of insecurity and scarcity, and they promise all the ways that we can be our best selves. It's not dissimilar to the American dream. You know, if you just work hard enough, or if you just use the right products, get the right procedures, if you practice enough at your instrument, all of these things are really similar in my eyes in terms of, they promise the world if you just work hard enough. And unfortunately, in music and in the wellness industry, I became really disillusioned with that promise. And this book largely comes from that grief of working really hard, of using all the right products and still having pores at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So,
And
yeah.
so tell us what are some of the clients like who come into this fictional wellness center? Tell us a little bit about them.
Sure. Yeah, the clients, these are people who can really afford to be their best selves. They're board members of the Whitney, they're actresses, actors, people who were already naturally born with probably every gift, physically, monetarily, and in terms of social status. But because of their money, they can continue to stay at the top of our society. And it's difficult as people who work in spaces like that. As a violinist, I do look out into an audience full of people who live lives that are way more luxurious than mine. And it's kind of the same when you're behind the counter at some of these, extremely expensive beauty stores.
Well, your main character is nameless for the most part. I do believe you name her later in the book, don't you? Yes. Okay,
Yes.
I'm right then about that. Um, what for what reason did you not reveal her name in the
Um,
beginning?
the beginning, yeah. I kind of also based that on my own personal experience. Obviously, I've always had a name growing up. Most of us do, but I often felt like my name could have been anything. I grew up in a predominantly white area, and I just felt kind of like I was blank, and that I kind of stood in for whatever people perceived Asian Americans or Asians to be. And so I wanted to play with that for the main character as well. And as I've grown older, my name has become something I really cherish. And it's the first thing that we ask people and the first identifying thing that we give away. But it's become this thing that I feel really proud of, along with my heritage and my lineage. And so it's partly as well like not wanting to give away who I am or who the main character is, and
Yeah.
just living off of the projections of others and how that can in some ways protect us as well as destroy us.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. And so when your main character she becomes suspicious, how does she become suspicious of the treatments that are going on without revealing anything? Maybe you can't answer that.
Yeah, I think a lot of this book is about assimilation, and kind of the devastating consequences of assimilation. And it is a cautionary tale of what happens when your dreams come true. And without giving too much away, I guess, I grew up in a place where, yeah, I didn't have too many people who looked like me around, and I would have loved to look like someone else. And I gave the main character this opportunity through wellness and clean beauty to become that someone else, and to explore kind of, the sad things that happen when your dreams come true. And they're all dreams that we've been told to have, in a sense, and they're dreams that the beauty industry pushes on us. And it's so, I mean, I only in my kind of mid to late 20s really started to question what I thought was beautiful on my own, regardless of what any company or industry is pushing onto me as the idea of beauty.
That's
So
that's that's beautiful in itself. That is beautiful. Um, what does your character discover that she's losing by buying into this beauty culture?
yeah, I think, when we're often looking out into the world at other people and the things they have, we forget what we have. We forget that we have amazing lineages. We forget all of the, great privileges we have in our lives, the cultural treasures. And we sometimes don't think we have anything to lose by assimilating or by changing. But when you do start to become someone else or something else, often I've experienced a deep sense of loss. And it's only later when I'm not able to get back what I've lost. And definitely tried to recreate that for the character. This is the book that, I wish I had been able to read when I was 12 or 13. And I felt like such an outcast in so many ways. And so this is, I don't think the generations that are growing up now deal with it to the extent that I did. And I really hope that's the case. But if there is someone who is struggling in that regard, I hope that this is the book that finds them and tells them to treasure who they are and to not give things away thinking that the grass is
Right.
greener.
And this book starts out as such a glamorous story, but there is a shocking, darker side. And I won't reveal what that is, but I want to know, did you intend to write a sort of a book of horrors, or did it come to you through the writing itself?
It came through the writing. I was really surprised when I went on the Penguin Random House website one day and saw that it was labeled as a horror novel, actually. But then I thought about some of the passages, and I was like, of course it's horror. I don't know why I didn't think that. But at the time of writing, it didn't feel that way because we're living in the time that we are, where, like the landscape for women's bodies in this country often does feel like a horror novel to me. So I think it's just true to our experience as women that anything, if we're talking about the things that in the book I'm talking about, it's
Right.
going to have elements of horror. We're trying to change ourselves on a cellular level in order to attain impossible standards of beauty. It's horrific what
Very, very.
what they
That's so
push on
very
us.
true. That's so very true. Um, the story doesn't fit into any particular genre because it is many things. Um, Was that difficult to find an agent and an editor? Was it difficult to sell? What was your journey like?
Yeah, I think I'm not sure, having been a violinist for all of my life, I am not plugged into the community or the industry as well as I'd like, and maybe I am more now. But for me, just personally, I found it very difficult. I'm so grateful for my agent and editor because I didn't know how to describe the book. I didn't know about, comps and that kind of thing. It is so many things. It's horror, it's satire, it's literary fiction. I've heard it called so many things, and it's, an immigrant story. It's all of these, things, and it's, yeah. So I just found it difficult to find an agent, and really the difficult thing for me was going through so many rejections for agents, and
How many rejections did you have?
I don't know. I mean, it was like, months and months of rejections. I forget sometimes they were daily. You had to prepare yourself when you were opening your inbox every day because you never know. And I had this I just tried to make it fun. Like, let's see like how many rejections we can get today. The whole querying process. And I think I was trained for it pretty well because of my musical background. It's kind of similar with orchestra auditions. They're really depressing, and you work really hard, often for years without any success. But kind of like with an agent, you really only need one. So just, for anyone who's listening out there who's querying, like, just keep, maybe you feel delusional like I did, but just keep going. Get therapy if you need, take antidepressants if you need, like I did, and just keep going, and you'll find the people who are meant to find your work.
How many rewrites did you go through with your book?
I worked on it on my own for so long, probably like 3 or 4 years, without any idea that it would really become a novel. And it was kind of just for fun, on the side of my freelancing as a violinist. And then when the pandemic hit and my industry, like so many others, lost our work, I was like, okay, well, let's just say it's done and start working. And I think after that, I probably did a year of edits. There were, I would say, 2 to 3 sections, bigger sections that I worked on with my agents. And then just the normal, I don't know, probably like 3 more edits. I found out they were called like, first and second passes and stuff. I don't know. I can't even, I just feel like there was like a constant stream of editing from the moment I got an agent.
That's not unusual at all. You thank many people in your book, and you dedicate this to your parents. Why do you dedicate this to your parents?
Oh, well, probably the most autobiographical thing about the book is the parents in the book. You might only ever get one novel, right? And for me, it meant so much to have parents who were like mine on the page, not like tiger parents, who are so kind of stereotypical to Asian or Asian American culture. And yeah, I love my parents so much. They were, they survived the Cultural Revolution. They have so many similarities to the parents in the book. And that's just because I want them to be in print. And I'm really so grateful for them. I mean, I'm so grateful for everyone that I think I'm a very thankful person. But I am constantly so thankful for their sacrifices, and for just, not even for me or my brother, but just the choices and the really brave risks they took in their own lives. It served as such a great example for how to live my life. And yeah, I just wanted to put it all in print and have a physical object, not like music, which I play and I can dedicate a performance to them, but it just, evaporates. But a book that says it's for them, it meant a lot for me to give to them.
Mm-hmm. And when you're thinking about being a violinist and being a writer, which one do you prefer, or is there any preference?
I think they're totally related to me, and I started writing as an act of translating kind of the ineffable feelings I had. Most of the music that I play, there are no words, there are no lyrics that go with it. But I would have these really intense, complex feelings, probably starting when I was 12 or 13, when I started to have free reign. I wasn't just doing what my teacher told me. I was starting to have my own interpretation, and I started writing because I just couldn't figure out these feelings. And so when I'm practicing the violin, I'm often writing in my head, and then I take a break to write. And then, something I read will remind me of certain passages of music. So I almost don't think I could do either without the other. And it's so fun it's fun to do more things. I mean, a lot of musicians I've found, kind of question the fact that I'm not any longer like specializing in this one thing. And in music school, if you have a lot of other interests, sometimes it can be looked down upon because it really requires so much practice and diligence. But I've only ever found that things are more personally fun and rewarding if I'm like, just chasing all the things that I like. And there's a way to make everything relate.
Yes, and well, creativity, however it's expressed. What do you want readers to take away from this book?
I want readers to, I want them to have had a good time. And I want them to deeply know that they're valuable, beyond any trends or any systems, any industry that's making them feel insecure or, out of place, that they have an important place in this world, that they are, the connective tissue of this great lineage that they're continuing, and just to value yourself and not to change for anyone besides you.
That's wonderful. What are you going to write next?
I've been working on, what I hope will be a second novel. It's takes place in the performance art world, and I had so much fun coming up with procedures and projects and products in natural beauty. So I had kind of the similar amount of fun coming up with different kinds of works for these artists. And it's mainly about friendships and also how technology, distracts from, or maybe even, devastates friendships.
Yes, so. Yes. Well, you're an amazing author and violinist, I'm sure. And we wish you the best of luck, and we are looking forward to seeing a lot more from you. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Ling Ling Huang, that is the author of Natural Beauty, and we do recommend it. It's an amazing book.
Thank you so much, Doris.